right, so I have here with me Robert Lucas, also going by, is it Luca Dupree?
It's Luca Dapri, but I allow people to call me Luca for short. It's basically an acronym, actually. It stands for last name Lucas, dedicated activist, poetic revolutionist, and educated entrepreneur. It's me reminding myself who I said I'm gonna be. Because a lot of times in like urban communities, we call ourselves killer, gangster. And at the end of the day, it reminds you every day this is who you have to be, and you're forced to keep that narrative. So I remind myself that I'm supposed to keep a more positive narrative.
Okay, I like that. I like the meaning behind the name. Speaking of the meaning behind the name, um, voice of the voiceless, like
Yes,
that's powerful within itself. But
it is.
what
I
what
appreciate
what
that.
came what made you come to that conclusion to name it the voice of the voiceless? It's kind of obvious, but still.
Um, Honestly, it might not be. Honestly, to be truthful, I was in a prison. I was in prison at the time when I formed my organization, and I was listening to Voice of the Heroes. And I was with a bunch of individuals that was helping me come up. And I go off of intuition. I actually formed this organization just by chance because I don't know no heroes in my community that's written with poverty, destruction, anger, mental health issues that's mishandled or misrepresented. But I know a lot of people that don't have a voice. So I'm
Mm,
like, I don't want to be the voice of the heroes. I'd rather be the voice of the voiceless. And the DA actually stands for dedicated activists because the voice of the voices is the mission statement. But we could get to that later on.
okay, that was kind of my next question, but I was just gonna let's start with you telling me more about your organization because I didn't again, I got there late, so.
Okay, so my organization is the voice of anybody that doesn't have a voice. It's just right now my foundation is based on the incarcerated individual because I deal with psychology, and it's my belief that if we invest in the mindsets of the individuals that come into these community and they become like a cancer cell, they infect the community as soon as they get there with their lack of humanity because they were treated like animals for such a long period of time. People don't know how to drive around here. But so I started it based off the fact that I wanted to do something not based off money. I wanted to do something that would maybe change the crime rate in our communities, like Malcolm X. The best way to explain that is what Elijah Muhammad did with Malcolm X. He were he was very, ignorant in a sense when he went to prison. And Elijah Muhammad sent him $1 in a letter and believed in him. And that dollar in a letter changed Malcolm X's life forever because he planted a seed that made him want to learn, made him want to find his true self. And with the faith of Allah, which is God in all sense, no matter what it is, because I'm not Muslim, but I just believe in the theory of people's journey, he was able to touch so many lives. Elijah Muhammad wouldn't have been able to do that. But
Mm,
because he planted a seed in somebody else that can, and that's what I'm doing with individuals all across this region, from Cali to New York.
okay. How
And it-
long okay, when you said something about it not being about money. Can you
yeah.
elaborate on that a little bit?
Okay, so the best way I could say that is I'm a 501c.
Hmm.
And at the end of the day, if you look on the IRS website, I haven't received any money from anybody. And people will be like, how impossible would you be able to help as many people or do all the things that you've been doing without raising any funds? And I have been raising funds, but I use it through my own company because I realize that society might still look at me as a criminal. I've been a part of the problem my entire life. So if I came home and said, "Well, I got this solution, but you give me your money, you give me your money," I might look like all these other organizations that then took our people's money and sold us a false ticket. So what I did is I sacrificed my time, my resources, my children, my family resources to prove to the world that people can stand on business in the face of humanity for the sake of our community and look like me and come from a bad history or a bad past like me and just wake up and have a pure heart and really mean what he say or she say about helping the community. So when people see me going to these rallies and I see other organizations that might feel like they have to, advertise the fundraiser and everything, and I respect it. Just me, I just have a lot of faith in, it's gonna come when it needs to come, but I need people to trust me. That's the problem with our people. We don't trust nobody. And until we can break that layer of trust, we're not going to be able to help nobody because they're not going to accept our help because we're going to look like everybody and everything that they didn't already seen for decades come through the community with shiny promises and then leave people still homeless on the street.
Got you. I definitely can understand that. So, how long has this organization, this is your organization, correct?
Yes, I am the founder and
And
owner
the owner. Okay. How long has this been around?
since June 13th, but it's been operating without. I came home June 13th, 2024. The day I came home, it was incorporated. And it was like that because what people don't realize is God gave me this gift before I even came home. I was providing parole clothes for people while I was still in prison because I was tired of seeing a 70-year-old man that spent most of his life in prison sitting next to me like, yo, I don't even want to go home. I'd rather stay here. What's out there for me? And it's not that
Mhm.
he didn't have family. He was in prison so long, all his family died before he got there. So
Yeah.
he paid his debt to society, and society was supposed to actually, honor the fact that he was able and responsible enough to pay that debt. But yet he's double jeopardy because when he comes back home, most of the individuals, if you look at statistics, and one of my brothers, my blood brothers, fell victim to this, they die 6 to 12 months after they release. Like
Wow.
literally, individuals that do long periods of time and they release them into society without any proper resources, any proper help, any proper guidance, love, care, and appreciation, they are starstruck and not in a good way.
Right.
The shock and the anxiety of being thrust in the cars, the lights, the cameras, the technology, the fast pace. It's so opposite from what they were groomed for decades and long periods of time. The mental health separation of their reality and the real reality is just too much for their heart to handle. And
Okay.
that's what bothers me. So I don't know if I
Yeah.
answered it correctly, but
No, I get it, but I want to kind of redirect into what exactly the organization does specifically. I
okay,
know.
so I could tell you from this point right here, because
Okay.
all right, so we're the first pre-entry program in prison. And what I mean by pre-entry service, it kind of goes into what I say, but it's more of the textbook version of what I created. So my mission statement is voices of individuals creating equal opportunity for deprived Americans by vocalizing, organizing intellectual consciousness, and elevating lives as well as educating silent society. And the first service that we provide right now is something called Care by Air. And what Care by Air is, all of these programs that you see for incarcerated individuals or mental health individuals, it say re-entry.
Mm-hmm.
And what re-entry means is when you are about to re-enter into society, now we will help you. The problem with that is you have an individual that is self-medicated, been shot or cut or stabbed or slapped or abused or watched somebody get killed by police while they were incarcerated. And then 6 months from their release, you think that you're going to offer them some type of service that's going to help them when they're not even going to trust you. So what I did is I decided to give them service from the moment they come to prison. So
Mm.
from the moment you get here, our job is to help redirect you and ready you for your reentry. Give you opportunities to become your own entrepreneur. Give you opportunities to find what your gift is, what your passion is, so you don't have to be a criminal. Because from what I realized, to spending most of my life in prison, if I would have waited even now to do what I did long before I was released, when somebody come up to me like, yo, I got this illegal opportunity for me, but nobody else has opportunity for you, what you gonna do? But if you
Absolutely.
already have a pre-entry a approach to your survival when you're re-entered into society, those temptations don't look like temptations. They look like distractions or negative crabs that's going to pull you back down in the bucket that we think is appropriate in our community.
Okay. I'm very glad that I asked you again, because that gave me more of like what the plan is
And,
and
and
the difference.
and if you want to, I could give you the brief direction of which with the packet that the individuals get that's in my program. So when they get my packet to be a part of my program, this is what they read. CB is a care by ear. This is our prison call service pre-entry program, first of its kind, created behind the notion that incarcerated individuals, I, have been sentenced to pay their debt to society with time, not with the deterioration of their hearts and mind. This program core mission is to create social building blocks that will provide IIs enrolled in our program with a renewed purpose, one that will help one that we hope will be able to heal environmental scars that are not visible on the surface. We plan to do this with a foreign jump, with a form, with a from Jump Street hands-on approach, meaning from the moment you enter DOC BOP, you are eligible to enroll in our program, at which time you will immediately receive a health aid coach, HAC. View the information below for details. HAC Health Aid Coach. This individual will be assigned to IIs as a case planner and mental health consultant. This individual will remain the II's representative as long as he or she are actively enrolled in this program. And I'm gonna stop right there because the problem with the Department of Corrections is no matter if it's mental health or anything, you get a person, right? You meet them for about 10 minutes once a month.
Keep going, like
It's
10.
okay. For 10 minutes once a month, right? And then if you leave that facility and go somewhere else, you meet a whole new person and start all over again. How are they going to break that trust barrier? Or
Right.
is the individual that they're in front of giving you a mask and a smoke screen just to get the medication that you're going to provide for them, or just to get out their queue for a couple minutes? And that's what you really have. You have us in a situation where we know this individual is not here to help us. He can't help us or she can't help us. So we're gonna smoke screen them and they're gonna smoke screen us. And I know for face value, because I've went to counseling while I was incarcerated, and this lady, after I diagnosed her, said, well, I over medicate them because I can't do nothing else. Hold up, lady. So excuse me. You're telling me that because I refuse to take any meds from them. So this is what opened up the discussion. You're telling me that you over medicate these individuals and give them a higher doses because you know you can't mentally address their dysfunctioning in their psychological process.
Mm,
How are we helping our people that way?
right.
And
Wow.
then you look at the over amount of individuals released from these institutions with mental health issues, with family crisis, where they family don't even recognize them no more. So at the end of the day, you see the homeless population growing. Ask how many of them were ex-felons. And then you start seeing the trickle of the ripple effect of the decisions that these institutions made on masses of people. It doesn't set well with me.
I don't think it should set well with anyone, but I feel like my question was, what was the passion behind your involvement? But I feel like you've answered that.
Well,
I do have
my bad. I didn't realize. Well, go ahead.
I do have a question though for those who are interested. Um, how do you get involved in your program? Like, if I had someone who was incarcerated, how would I be able to get them in contact with you?
All you'd have to do is give me their DIN number and I would send them the packet myself. So I have like I've made multiple videos, and every time I do something, I try to give them the individuals that's there, like, yo, give me your loved one's DIN number. I send them the packet. Cause what the packet is it's just more than a program. I'm actually trying to organize the first voting party for our people. And when I say our people, I'm not talking about a nationality. I'm talking about the fact that anybody that's incarcerated and any family connected to them are a own culture, because it's a mindset that comes behind prison. I tell people in a lot of my seminars and the things I do, my son, which is 6 years old, at like 4 or 3, was institutionalized enough by me being in prison that he knew when he went through the metal detector to see me on the visit, he had to take his shoes off and put it on the counter and walk through the metal detector. He knew that the blue man in the suit had authority over his father, so we had to be quiet whenever he walked past the table. For me, that is trauma that nobody's paying attention to. That is
Yeah.
a trials, trauma and tribulations that is opening the door for the Department of Corrections, that is a funding institution to keep funding the families that they employ. And that just don't settle well for me.
Oh man, I know for a fact we will be doing another interview again because I definitely have a lot of things I could say right now. But since this is for school, I'll keep it
Yeah.
cool. Um, how will others be able to? I know how to get in contact with you, but for the viewers, how would they be able to get in contact with you?
Well, the good thing is, hopefully in a couple days, my website will be up. But what people don't realize, I just came home 9 months. People think that I got it all together, but I lose sleep to make sure that I'm professional enough. But right now, it's just social media on
Okay,
EEZY_drip.
say
And,
it again.
in the future, I know EEZY_drip on Instagram.
Thank you.
And I feel like in the last 9 months, the Instagram will speak to itself for how serious and how much I'm willing to sacrifice to be a part of the solution.
I would also like to know what would you suggest for others who want to get involved?
Well, I would tell them that you have to have endurance, right? And you also have to be willing to take a million losses. Don't get into the game of trying to help people if you're not realizing the people that you're trying to help have mental health issues. They don't want to be helped. They're very angry and they have every right to be angry. So at the end of the day, you might get spit on, you might get kicked, you might get abused verbally so many times where you start looking at the people you're trying to help in a different way. I automatically go into a room or into a altercation with somebody knowing that they need my help. And I can't help them if I didn't already help myself. So I try to tell people to first help yourself and know yourself, know what your issues are, know what your triggers are, and then start learning your community. Because you can't help your community if you don't know them, right? And that's the problem I have with a lot of institutions. You can't read a textbook and know somebody. I don't care how much you learn, what you read, experience on the field is what brings, solutions to the table. And then thirdly, just have humanity.
It's breaking up.
And close and make it very clear that they are less than. And
I'm
that
I'm so hurt that our internet is unstable right now.
that's okay. Yeah.
So unfortunately I didn't catch all of that, but we will be doing this again in person.
Hmm.
Um,
Yes.
I do have one more though. Hopefully it doesn't break up.
Yeah.
Um, but what would you say to anyone who doesn't approve of what you're doing?
I would say what I tell everybody. If you know the problem and you're not a part of the solution, you then become a part of the problem. So the people that have so much to say, I would say, what do you do in the beginning of your day and at the end of your day? Because when I wake up, I'm waking up with tears in my eyes trying to figure out how I'm gonna help my people. At the end of the night, I do the same thing. This is a real life sacrifice for my family. I've been going 5.5 years. I don't spend enough time with my kids, with my wife like I should because I have people that need me. So sacrifice is a heavy pill. And I don't advise anybody to say that they want to step up and be the voice for their people if they don't first recognize that. Because the mental bondage, it comes with trying to help people that don't want to be helped or that don't know that they need help is not easy, man. And you have to be very faithful and strong willed to fight a battle that nobody else wants to fight in. So that would be my message, man. Know the problem, but focus on the solution.
Okay. Well, I feel like I took up enough of your time at this moment. I really do appreciate it. Again, this is Robert Lucas, voice of the voiceless. We can find you again on Instagram. Say your Instagram name again.
At EEZY_drip, Easy Drip. And that's the clothing line that provides parole clothes for individuals across the region from Cali to here. And it's the backbone of VODV because everything I do is either through, the kind hands of people that care or my apparel line because it's
Okay,
for us, by us.
got you. And you can do funding on your Instagram that way as well,
Yes, we we
if
we
someone was
have a
interested.
text. I have a text to give number that I just created because people have been cussing me out for that, and I love them for that because I be wanting to do everything myself just to prove that I'm not in it for the money. But my text to give number is 646-453-0090, and it'll pop up voice of the voices, so you know it's no scam. It just got to say text give to that number. Just text give, and it'll pop up and it'll go straight to my bank account.
Wonderful. Well, just one more time for me, the number.
The number is 646-453-0090. And just for the people that know that people use these monies for wrongdoings, the Brooks family just donated a whole bunch of toys and clothes. And anything that somebody give to me, I do a video and I connect them to the video so they can directly know that this is what your support did for somebody else. Because somebody wants to see how they can help somebody, and I want them to know that VODV is not like any other organization that you ever seen before. We're not trying to live in a mansion while other people are living without nowhere to live.
Absolutely. I thank you so
So,
much for what you're doing. Keep it up.
and thank
I
you
will
for amplifying
definitely,
my voice.
yes, I really hope that this helps, and I will definitely be in touch to do more with you. Thank you again for all that you do, and I thank your family for being open to you
Hmm.
doing this because I know it's time consuming. But you have a wonderful evening, okay?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, you too. Thank you.
Mm.
Yeah.